Hello everybody, welcome back for StarCraft 2 action. I know you probably missed me. We have a Protoss versus Protoss in SKillous going up against ShoWTimE. And for the round of 4, we already have 3 Terrans in the bucket. So we are going to have 1 Protoss for the round of 4, giving us a chance at not a TvT finals. All of the Zergs have sadly fallen. So it's just going to be the Terrans and the Protoss to give us some further entertainment here in the quarter, semis, and grand finals. Starting us off on Goldenaura for Protoss versus Protoss. Now in mirror matches, usually doesn't matter too much which map you play, unless some map features enable too much degeneracy. But usually we don't have that in StarCraft 2. And I don't think Goldenaura is one of those. You get a fine wall over here. You have a decent choke at the natural. It's not amazing, but... And your main is not... It's big, but it's not ginormous. Like, I guess War Prisms over here are annoying. An Oracle can sit behind your main, though, like underneath, but can't get behind without getting shot by Stalkers. So I guess Oracles aren't like... This is not an instant Stargate map because of that. But if like you have this much airspace on the right as well, I think it's almost instantaneously a Stargate map. Now let's see what these players do in PvP. Both going for the Stalkers. SKillous and ShoWTimE still across the map. And how are they going to find out what their opponent makes? We do see a pylon going down by SKillous, and ShoWTimE actually hiding the Stalkers right now. Stalkers going out from SKillous as well. I don't think ShoWTimE saw those. Interesting, and this pylon almost going to finish up. Actually doesn't get scouted. The Stalkers instantaneously reveal themselves, start hitting that pylon, and I guess SKillous deems it worth to delay this Nexus a little bit. And to get that scouting information on the Stalkers. Does not see the additional 2 Stalkers come out, but he does see them with his own Stalkers. Walks in, sees probably that 3rd Stalker. Oh. He sees the 2 chasing right now. Now let's see, do we have any tech? No tech just yet, but we do have Nexi on both sides of the map. And Robo from SKillous coming out, whereas the Twilight for ShoWTimE does go down. And SKillous went for double sentry behind this. Starts up another one. No shield battery on the bottom here. ShoWTimE has 4 Stalkers walking across and made 1 sentry at home. So SKillous has sentries. He has 3 of them. ShoWTimE has them at home. Only 1. And an hallucination goes across the map here from SKillous, making sure that he has all of the scouting information that he could ever want. Scouts that the Nexus is still there. Was not a fake. And now scouts out the Twilight console that is upgrading an upgrade. Can still be fake, can still be like a D2 shrine hidden on the edge of the map. Because we only see a couple Stalkers and a sentry, so there is a little bit of gas overhead for ShoWTimE here. War Prism coming out for SKillous. And 2 Adepts actually running across. Even more sussy. Like, oh, where's all your gas going? Well, ShoWTimE has a couple thousand gas, or a couple hundred gas in the bank, actually. And SKillous' War Prism gets revealed right away. He throws down a Twilight console of his own, and he's still moving out here. ShoWTimE, though, ready to meet him in the middle of the map. The first Stalker does go down. No Guardian Shield used, no Force Fields used. 4 sentries ready to perform, well, any type of spell casting. And SKillous moving back, actually. So, making ShoWTimE a little bit afraid of his move out. But the army supplies are about the same. This Robo not being used any further. No observers except for this one. So 1 observer is up for SKillous. 3rd base for ShoWTimE is down for SKillous as well. Probe count's relatively even. Base count relatively even. And army count relatively even. Almost dead even in this game. Number 1 Immortals being pumped out here by SKillous, whereas ShoWTimE is about to finish up his Blink, but his Robo's only just halfway done. So there is a little bit of an imbalance here between what the players have access to. ShoWTimE has Blink Stalkers, whereas SKillous has an Immortal that does very well against Stalkers. These Stalkers are looking for a cheeky Blink into the main, and an Hallucinated Phoenix from that one sentry does provide the vision. The Blink comes in, one probe gets shut down right away, one of the pylons does get sniped. A couple of force fields to keep these Stalkers from using good formation. They actually blink to the side. They can't blink out just yet, meaning that SKillous can commit to fight there. The Immortal does help take out one of the Stalkers, and that means SKillous now lost 1 Stalker, or ShoWTimE lost 1 Stalker this game. 2 Adepts coming to the 3rd, and is he going to go for round number 2? This Adept squad does get 3 probes, and the Stalker's actually walking up into the natural. There is an Observer giving vision of this. The Immortal's ready, but are the probes ready to stay alive here? Shield Battery keeps this Stalker alive. Need 1 more Stalker to one-shot the Stalkers of SKillous. ShoWTimE now runs back with his Stalker's Blink is about to finish for SKillous. Both players starting up +1 on their forges. And we do see charge coming out for ShoWTimE. More gateways for both sides. And SKillous has a few probes less on the map right now, but it's not too bad. Almost all of his bases are saturated. ShoWTimE has a couple extra probes on minerals here that just don't give the same amount of return as the first 16. Like up to 24 probes, yes, you get a little bit more minerals, but usually 16 is our number. 4th base going down for ShoWTimE, making sure that the more probes he has, that they can efficiently mine on other bases. And I think both sides have 1 Robo, 1 Forge. And SKillous is about to catch up in the gateway count as well. These Blink Stalkers still being annoying. Now they have their own Observer with them to maybe even snipe the Observers of SKillous. SKillous taking the 4th towards ShoWTimE. This seems like a gnarly base to hold, but maybe it's kind of fine. There isn't like siege tanks that can really rip you apart in the Protoss arsenal, but you are still defending up a ramp from the low ground. Can be fairly annoying, but this spot just wasn't very available because of all those Blink Stalkers from ShoWTimE. 2 more Adepts roaming the map. ShoWTimE has been pretty annoying with these so far. Of course, did get a couple kills at the 3rd base earlier, and now you can maybe get a little more. War Prism comes in. Even Resonating Glaives coming in for SKillous here. Does he have charge? No, he does not. So he wanted Resonating Glaives over charge? I don't know if he misclicked or that he warps in 8 Adepts in the middle of the map and is actually looking to attack here. Now, Adepts are light units, so the Stalkers don't do that much damage against them. And with the Resonating Glaive, they can do good damage to Zealots and probes, especially 5 probes. Go down from SKillous here. ShoWTimE doing good damage. And ShoWTimE looks to be sturdy here, can defend all of his bases, does run away from these 2 Adepts that shaded on into his 4th base. So SKillous a little bit of an advantage here in the resource count. The 3rd base just gets clicked down by SKillous. Whoa! ShoWTimE looked to be in position, but actually loses an entire base there to the superior Immortal count. And before you know it, buildings just disappear. Lots of Blink Stalkers here. Now the Blink Stalkers move forward from ShoWTimE, but 2 Immortals still alive. Only one of them alive now. War Prism does not manage to pick it up before it dies. Now the Blink Stalkers of SKillous go forward. Snipe down one of ShoWTimE's Immortals, but the second one does join the army. We even have an Archon in the front here. Does deal well with the Adepts and takes a lot of damage. It's good for tanking. Now the War Prism did go down. The Immortal gets sniped. There's 1 new Immortal for ShoWTimE, gets sniped as well. Both players sniping each other's Immortals. War Prism gets F2'd into the fray. SKillous does manage to snipe it, but now The Blink Stalkers of ShoWTimE are in a larger number, and they can give chase to the Blink Stalkers of ShoWTimE. Big recall here to deal with the other Stalkers of SKillous that ran into the 4th base that is now basically the 3rd base. And ShoWTimE feeling pretty bad here because he couldn't mine efficiently for all that time. SKillous, on the other hand, had a 4th base up and running, has cannons in almost every mineral line so that he can deal with like 2 adepts being annoying. Those adepts can still do damage if you target fire the probes, but that takes a lot of APM. So not every player is able to do that, especially when you are attacking them in their face. And SKillous up to a big number of Stalkers. Once again, 25 Stalkers. Not resuming any robo production so far, just Blink Stalker. Very interesting approach here. How many gateways does he have? 8 gateways, 12 on the side of ShoWTimE. So ShoWTimE does not have to invest in a lot of infrastructure anymore. Maybe like 1 extra robo for the foreseeable future. And then like adds on robotic support bay if he ever wants disruptors. But this is just pure Blink Stalker. He is adding on another Immortal. He has 0 on the map right now, and he's warping in a lot of charge slots. So can these fast Zealot boys actually get on top of the Zealots or Stalkers and be useful? But kiting back from Zealot or SKillous is being very effective against these Zealots, with this Observer giving high ground vision as well. SKillous can give a lot of chase. We do have the shield batteries here keeping those Stalkers alive for ShoWTimE. Nuclear battery is in play. We do have 1 Immortal now, 2nd one on the way, +3 starting for both sides. Both sides have +2. We see a 5th base here for SKillous finishing up on the gold. Probes transferring over right away. And SKillous slowly but surely seems to be edging out a pretty nice advantage here on the economy side of things and map control. But his army is just exclusively Stalkers, and is that going to cut it? In the end, 37 Stalkers, 41 Stalkers. It's literally just mono battling here with mass Stalker. I guess War Prisms and Observers don't really count. Oh my god. Tries to kite back here from the mass Zealot armada that is walking up here, but look at that. They do a lot of damage, and these Stalkers have to like blink back in big portions. It takes a lot of APM to like efficiently blink back all of your Stalkers. So it's easier to just grab a chunk and blink him back to make sure. One Observer does go down. A blink forward from SKillous. Oh my god, but he doesn't really know what's up that ramp right now. And immediately ShoWTimE is like, okay, you don't have blink. I'm gonna fight here. I'm gonna trade. And SKillous does have a slightly higher worker count still. And his army count's also higher. Warps in 10 adepts is finally adding on back some robo units. So an Immortal is coming in. He does need like another Observer, because that vision that ShoWTimE has right now seems to be way more effective than the vision of SKillous. We do have the War Prism to reinforce. +3 is going to finish slightly before that of ShoWTimE if he keeps up the chrono boosting. And ShoWTimE knows where his opponent's army is in position as well with his Stalkers. The Immortals and the Archons are still chilling behind the Nexus. Now, last time we saw exactly what happened, and the Nexus got killed. It's a lot of adepts. It's so weird to see. But I guess at PvP, it's totally fine. Charge finishes up for SKillous as well. +3 finishes up just now, and he takes a fight right away. +3's almost done for ShoWTimE. And again, this Nexus, can he click it down? SKillous, nope, does not go for it. Instead, gets a little concave here. The Adepts try to get in, but some of the Adepts just can't move forward. They don't have as much range as these Stalkers. Now, the Stalkers blink back. The Adepts start tanking up. Only 1 Immortal remaining for SKillous that just walked on in. 2 Immortals for ShoWTimE, however. And the Blink Stalkers of ShoWTimE blink atop of that as last Immortal. Now 3 Immortal backbone for ShoWTimE. And his army supply still even with that of SKillous. And SKillous just has more money, so he can trade a little bit inefficiently. Oh my god, the Stalkers actually catch these Blink Stalkers from SKillous. They might have seen, like, on the edge of their vision, the big blink from SKillous, because they started chasing right away, knowing that SKillous did not have the blink. Now, they do get a couple shots on the Zealots. Oh my god, more Zealots are catching up. These Stalkers just can't seem to get away. A little move command there from ShoWTimE, letting SKillous get away, because on the other side of the map, SKillous is moving on in. We see a big recall coming out. And oh my god, these zealots actually get stuck in the army of ShoWTimE on move command, and they will perish. So SKillous being a little bit less efficient, it seems like. But yeah, mostly losing more gas, but ShoWTimE loses more minerals, and that checks out. ShoWTimE has been warping in a lot of charge slots, whereas SKillous has been warping in a lot of like Stalkers in the depths, which both cost gas. And we haven't really seen ShoWTimE lose a lot of his Archon Immortal. Let's see, 3 Immortals, 2 Archons, and no Robo units for Skillous right now. Skillous does have +1 shields. Heckin' love shields. Shields are so value, especially with Blink, obviously. And +1 armor about to finish for ShoWTimE. It kind of evens up the upgrades once again. And Skillous hasn't really taken another base for a while. Did take this 6th base now. And ShoWTimE is on 4. So slowly but surely the war of attrition will start favoring Skillous here. Oh, nice fight here from ShoWTimE. Catches the tail of the army. The rest actually moves away. And it wasn't even the full army. Again, 48 Stalkers here. What the motherload of Stalkers, you know, he opens up another can of whoop-ass, or, well, Stalkers came out. And the Stalkers of ShoWTimE blink forward to try and do more damage, get into position. Lots of charge slots just running at the Stalkers, making sure that these Stalkers can't just stand still and fight. They also want to run away from these Immortals as well, so these Stalkers just can't really do maximum damage. There's 3 observers here for Skillous, who definitely has this vision advantage. And as you can see, ShoWTimE can't really look over the shrubbery, but Skillous could, potentially. There is 1 observer for ShoWTimE here, and Skillous might catch up to it. Both players don't have a robotic support base, so can't have observer speed. Skillous' supply is very high, though. A big army, but remember, it is all Stalker. Stalker Zealot this time around. No more Adepts. Ooh, a little War Prism drop there. It does get caught by ShoWTimE, and the observer goes down as well. 3 Archons and 3 Immortals are still the backbone here for ShoWTimE. No DT Shrine on either side, but most players seem to have at least 1 cannon in each mineral line, so you really need a good amount of DTs to really do anything. ShoWTimE gets his 5th base up and running. Skillous, however, going for a 6th. And this golden base is an unknown for ShoWTimE. And if he knew, he might understand how perilous his situation is right now. But he's doing the right thing. He is just turtling up, getting maxed. He has good upgrades, keeps on upgrading, and tries to just get a good fight. 200 supply, and he has slightly less units. Plus, with the robo units, he does have a more efficient army. So he can stay in the game for quite a bit of time if that keeps up. But we have a robotic support by +2 more robos for Skillous. So we can actually start pumping out 3 Colossi or Disruptors at a time. Probably going to be seeing those Disruptors. But versus all of these charge slots, a couple of Colossi might kind of be okay as well. They have pretty long range as well, so they help with the poking. And then you can still go into the Disruptors after that, but we do see the first Disruptor starting up. Blink Stalker Disruptor, what a composition for PvP. If anybody remembers the Disruptor Blink Stalker fights, where I think the moment the Nova hit a unit, it would explode already. I'm pretty sure. So like, Disruptor Blink Stalker fights were crazy. But maybe they were the same as these, but maybe slightly longer range or something. I don't know, it was like 2017, 2016, like, those Disruptor Blink Stalker fights were just crazy. Oh my god, actually blinks in here. Skillous takes this fight, but it looks to be a better fight for ShoWTimE. I think he was expecting a slightly smaller army to get recalled back, but ShoWTimE just ran in with everything. Although he has split his army, and ShoWTimE has a way bigger army supply right now, but a lot of it is in the top right here, where ShoWTimE actually takes the other corner base. ShoWTimE took down the gold. ShoWTimE making moves. And just when Skillous is deciding to transition into these Disruptors, he's going to be warping a lot of Charge Zealots most likely, because he just has minerals. And Charge Zealots do not go very well together with Disruptor Balls, because you kind of end up blowing up your own Zealots. Maybe should have just warped in like 10 Adepts, but he just doesn't have the gas. Does start a +3 armor and Observer speed. We have some Disruptors here. First Nova comes out. Does not get a hit, but does force a lot of the army to move back. SKillous back up to 120 supply as well. And did see a Stalker go down. ShoWTimE now actually moving ahead in the base count. For the first time in this game. SKillous. Comfortably move around. Should try and kill those rocks. Oh my god, ShoWTimE catches SKillous out of position. We do have one Disruptor to try and kind of even the playing field. A lot of Zealots go down. The 9 kills on that Disruptor. Here comes the Nova. Doesn't catch any of the Stalkers, but still forces the blink out. More Stalkers from SKillous come out. Another Nova. Catches a couple Stalkers. And more Novas come out. Zealots and Stalkers do get hit. And this is 6 Disruptors. So SKillous will end up taking this fight. But does he keep this Nexus alive? Oh my god. Not all of the ShoWTimE units are clicked on the Nexus. And does not manage to click it down because of that. 59 supply. ShoWTimE GG's out. And he just took such an inefficient trade. Like, if you look at the army supply, that is why he left. Not because he doesn't have an economy. It's because he doesn't have a standing army. He doesn't have any big robo units. 6 Disruptors on the side of SKillous, whereas all of the important, like, backbone, expensive army units from ShoWTimE, mostly the robo units, were killed off. No more Immortals. No Archons, and no comeback unit. Like, he didn't have Disruptors of his own, so how are you going to defend against Disruptors? Like, you're going to need Disruptors to deal with Disruptors most of the time. And that means that SKillous, even though he was slightly behind in probes, does take game number 1 here on Goldenaura after a 21-minute slugfest. And for game number 2, we load up into Oceanborn. SKillous going up against ShoWTimE. And ShoWTimE needs to, show that he is not going to be trifled with. He is down 1-0. That's kind of fine in the best of 5, though. We got a lot of information on what SKillous likes to do. Apparently just make Stalkers, 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 and lots of Stalkers. And eventually, boom, Disruptors. Now, be sure that you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you want more StarCraft 2 action from me on this channel. My best watched video as of this recording is still a StarCraft 2 video, but one of my Stormgate videos, I don't have a lot of those, is kind of making a big run for my most watched video. So I need the StarCraft boys, the StarCraft elitist, to come in strong here. Save me. Can't be another Stormgate Andy. And SKillous does manage to get a full scout here, sees the extra pylon, and on the other side of the map, ShoWTimE. SKillous and ShoWTimE, both S Protosses. S-tier Protosses. Ooh, a Zealot coming out of ShoWTimE here. Maybe expecting another pylon block from SKillous here, so that's a cool adaptation. We see a Sentry Stalker coming out. SKillous actually blocks in this probe. And the Zealot gets cancelled. Gets made into a Sentry. So it's probably purely for maybe a Cybercore block. And I think we saw a cheeky recall. Yes, it is on cooldown. ShoWTimE recalling is one probe out of SKillous's main. And we have Nexi on both sides of the map. Look at the unit count is exactly the same. Stalker Sentry into double Sentry. And SKillous gets a slightly later Nexus. But that is no problemo. Pretty early shield battery here from ShoWTimE. So he's playing a little safer than SKillous right now. And the first hallucination goes across the map for both players. And Twilight Console goes down. I guess that's why we don't see super fast tech anymore. Because the Sentry just gets the scout every time. The Sentry is a good unit right now. because it does bonus damage to shields, and does seem to really stabilize this matchup in a way. The Robo facility comes out for Skillous, whereas the Twilight comes out for ShoWTimE, once again, just like they did in game number 1. And I guess if you hide like buildings on like the edges of the map, pretty easy to find those with Hallucinated Phoenix, because, well, they're just fast. I guess if you send out 2 more hallucinations, you'll find it. And you know when something is missing as one of the pro players. You can see their units, and then you can see if there's tech, and you're like, where's the gas, bro? Where's the gas? Especially because you are playing the same race, you probably have very similar gas timings. So if you have 3 sentries, 3 stalkers, and some tech going, and they have like 2 sentries and 3 stalkers and no tech, you're like, hold up, where's all that money? And I guess you can keep it in the bank. That's like one of the ways that we used to confuse AIs back in the day. You would just hide buildings or keep money in the bank because they would assume that you were spending all your money. Immortal being chrono boosted out here, or not being chrono boosted out, just being produced for Skillous. And we see those 2 adepts once again for ShoWTimE. He likes doing that, whereas Skillous doesn't really make the adepts until he goes glaives. Like, I'm trying to wrap my head around the fact that he went glaive adepts instead of charge slots in his army, which adepts are usually not an army unit. Maybe they're really good at like sniping sentries, like they shade on top of sentries. So if your opponent like goes a little ham on the sentries because it is a good unit right now, then you just shade on top of those and then you get all the sentry kills right away, because adepts deal massive damage to light units, which is the sentry. And then the sentries can't use the guardian shield, the force fields, the hallucinations, and do massive anti-shield damage. Now the adepts do get a lot of work done here. No probe kills just yet, but do force a lot of actions out of Skillous. 2 observers giving Skillous infinite vision here. Look at that, he just knows what's up. And the third base for both players is down. Decently similar probe counts, and we see a Twilight Council coming out for Skillous and a Robo coming out for ShoWTimE. So pretty similar to game number 1. Both players getting a Forge as well. And let's see how both players play it slightly differently in an attempt to win it once again. They've got the data right now. These adepts are looking to maybe shit in somewhere, but Skillous has a couple stalkers at the natural. Nothing's gonna happen. These sentries are retreating. It's just blink stalkers trying to get a little bit of information, maybe a little cheeky snipe, but they're not gonna get anything done. And the Robo is just about to finish for ShoWTimE, so he still has no Robo units whatsoever. Blink's going down for Skillous, and he's making 6 gateways. These Blink Stalkers are trying to hide. These Adepts do dive on into the natural. They get 3 Proby kills, 4 Proby kills, before eventually going down, and probably not like the best trade, but probably also pretty okay, because you don't really want those Adepts in your army, especially without glaives. And you get a couple probe kills, which is nice, in the mirror especially, and you get to see a part of the army of Skillous. And if you're lucky, you can even get a couple extra probes, or even more scouting. 3 immortals here for Skillous, whereas only 1 immortal so far for ShoWTimE. And Skillous is on the move. We have a hallucinated War Prism. That is cool. ShoWTimE is going to be looking to capture that War Prism. Look at these Stalkers. They are looking for the War Prism. And just goes to a corner. It's like, yeah, I'm not even going to send it. You just have to find it. And these Stalkers are going to the natural, making sure that War Prism can't do too much. Hallucinated Phoenix does go down here. Does scout the 4th base. Both sides are taking a 4th. And both players are building on up. They took similar paths, but not the same path. And now we kind of end up in a place where both players have a 4th base. Almost 69 probes, nice. And +2 underway. Charge coming up for SKillous. Did not opt for another glaive upgrade. Like, it would have been really funny if it was just a mistake in game 1 and he was like, ah, F it, I'm just gonna use it, make like 10 adepts. He did shade in like 2 adepts into the 4th base whilst attacking the 3rd, or I think it was the 3rd base where he shaded and he attacked the 4th. But that did wonders. And ShoWTimE moving down a ramp without a lot of vision. SKillous not really punishing that. Actually, ShoWTimE ends up getting a kill on SKillous's units. Like, if SKillous was slightly more cognizant of that move, you could have killed like a couple Zealots and a Stalker there. But just blinking forward slightly. SKillous throws down a 5th base here, so attempts to move up in the world and up in bases versus ShoWTimE. However, ShoWTimE instantaneously punishing SKillous here. Is like, nope, you're not in position to defend, and I'll just cancel that nexus for you, buddy. Kind of seems like you need a couple cannons and shield batteries at your outer bases here in PvP. Let's look at the unit numbers. 29 Zealots against 38 Stalkers. So Zealot, or SKillous, not Zealous, SKillous. Very Stalker heavy with 3 Immortals versus very Zealot heavy with 3 Immortals. And even an Archon. Like, you want the Archon versus the Zealots, I feel like. SKillous, can you kite back here? Because that's a lot of Zealots. Both players have +2, +3 is on the way for ShoWTimE, +1. About to finish for SKillous, so he's actually going to have an upgrade advantage. But nice force fields here for ShoWTimE, cutting off SKillous completely out of his 3rd base. And he is warping in more Zealots there, but it's just a meat grinder of ShoWTimE units. 16 probes go down, only a couple of them, 2 of them survive the onslaught, well, 3, I guess. And those force fields were monstrous. No Archons for SKillous were ready, and now ShoWTimE is maxed out. SKillous only 140 supply, and can he take a good fight? There's no 3rd base whatsoever, so SKillous needs a good fight now, because he's behind in economy big time. Both players were taking that 5th base, but ShoWTimE now throws in a big army group into the natural. He's going to take down this pylon. No more shield battery, no more cannon, no more gateways. And SKillous can't move up this ramp. ShoWTimE kind of taking the field center out away from SKillous. The force fields and the army just being stuck at this low ground. I guess you can't get caught off guard. You need to be positioned over here as SKillous and move back and forth. But he went back a little bit too far and then got caught out on that ramp, and SKillous gets taken down by ShoWTimE's superior army movement here in game number 2. Yeah, and after a couple of decisive moves coming out of ShoWTimE in game number 2, nicely adapting after that game number 1, picking a strong timing versus the build that SKillous showed to him, and some outmaneuvering on his part as well. He takes game number 2 on Oceanborn. So now we see both of these Protoss players fight on game number 3. Alcyone is our map. Well, we were always going to see game number 3 because it's a best of 5. But we have to say something until the game starts. And both players do get the scout off once again. However, where did SKillous' probe go? Am I crazy? Oh, it's here. Jesus. Double gate cybernetics core on top of the ramp. Don't really want to do a double wall at the front of your natural on Alcyone either, because this is just a low ground natural. If you don't have a ramp, you can't really wall at the ramp in PvP. Maybe we'll see Site Delta, and you can do it there. Because you can't do it on Oceanborn, and you can't do it on Goldenaura, so no low ground walls. I don't even know if it's really good in PvP, or if it's good at all. I kind of like how ShoWTimE just starts up that Zealot, and then cancels it for a Sentry. You're saving minerals anyways, for a potential Nexus. And then if there is like a block, you already have a Zealot, which is great. Or if there's like a proxy, then you have a Zealot. That seems great. Although you kind of know there's not a proxy if you're also scouting, but still. ShoWTimE has a pylon down here, making sure that he sees the gateway units coming out of Skillous. He's going for a Stalker and a delayed sentry, or no, a second sentry. Cool beans, 2 more sentries coming out of ShoWTimE as well. Nexus goes down for both layers. And, of course, we are in a similar position once again. Shield batteries going down for both as well. Pylon or a probe in position to build a pylon, or most commonly a shield battery. And the robo goes down for Skillous once again. And the Twilight goes down once again for ShoWTimE. Very nice. Both players believing in their own style here in PvP. And so we see pretty identical openers once again, which is cool, because then we can just see more adaptations coming out. That's the cool thing about best of 5s. You already see this in best of 3s, but in best of 5s it goes up to 11. Of course, it becomes kind of crazy in best of 7s and best of 9s. But in best of 5s also, you can kind of like do one crazy build, like a one-off, just to kind of steal a map. Like just a build you can only do once, and after that it's kind of like, well, now I know it exists, I know it's out there, maybe it's map specific. Both players Maynard over all of the probes, the naturals get saturated. ShoWTimE slightly ahead in the probers, but not by too much. And this robo again is going to make a warp prism. The hallucinations just running around, and again these adepts from ShoWTimE going to potentially cause some havoc here. Shades actually just go out here. Oh my god, and they shade in and they find the warp prism right away. Warp prism does not have any units in it though. And we see Skills going with the glaive upgrade once again. So we saw him get glaives in game number 1 and he won, but he went blink first. Now, we see him go for glaives right away. We also see an Immortal here. So, Immortal Glaive, we saw, I think, Cyan do this in reverse positions. And then he attacked with it. We see a bunch of gates coming out as well from Skillous. So he already has 2, 4 more being added on here. Whereas, ShoWTimE already has 2 and he's adding 2 more. We see a Robo, blink almost done. Is this going to be an attack from Skillous? That would be pretty interesting. No gases for Skillous as of yet. ShoWTimE already taking a 3rd one and a 3rd base, whereas Skillous does not have a 3rd base. His Immortal's walking across the map, and this seems to be an attack of sorts. We do have this one Immortal. Skillous has all the vision here. The Hallucination Scout sees the rest of the army, and Skillous just runs forward to safety, perhaps. He thought he might go up that ramp, but instead now he starts warping in the adepts. He has the glaives, and he is not expanding whatsoever. This Immortal does get caught in the middle of the map. Nice army movement here from ShoWTimE, delaying this push, and these Immortals being rallied over are not safe from the ShoWTimE. And he blinks on into the natural. The adepts come in as well. We do have this nuclear battery saving his own pylon. So basically powering his own power source. And the 3rd base has been cancelled by Skillous. The recall happens and ShoWTimE defends with sentries and stalkers. Big force fields here, making sure that a big portion of the army of ShoWTimE doesn't do anything. Only have 1 Immortal for Skillous right now, because the other one is still back at home and the other one is dead. It's deep in the grave. The blink comes out, the Warp Prism gets sniped, but the Adepts do finish up. The last Immortal gets killed, and all of the Adepts start their shades. They run into the natural mineral line. Some of them do shade in to the ramp, but none of them into the mineral line. And another Immortal does come out, and now these Adepts do get into the mineral line, get taken out of the control group. And these Stalkers need to run back, try and save some of the probes. 5 probes, 6 probes do go down. And nice job by ShoWTimE, making sure that the ramp is blocked off. And Skillous behind this just has another wave of Adepts coming out. No more Immortals. Well, we do have 2, so one more made its way across the map. ShoWTimE does have his own robo. He does have an observer now, so that he can see more of the army coming in, but oh my lord, this is a lot of adepts and these 2 immortals. Really annoying to deal with the stalkers. And 11 probes do go down. I think that was an adept, or 2 adepts in the main. Did miss that for a little bit. ShoWTimE is now hurting. 38 probes, so he's still okay. Snipes the first immortal. No, he actually retargets to the War Prism, allowing these immortals to do a little bit more damage. 1 immortal stays alive. Nuclear battery does come online. This 1 immortal is not enough. Oh, they actually target down the shield battery there. The juice is out. And ShoWTimE, no more juice here for him on the shield batteries. And these adepts making sure these stalkers have to keep running back. And good trades galore for SKillous. And the probes come off the line, and that is usually not good. Almost all of the adepts are dead, though. SKillous, his immortal, gets targeted down. Almost kills another stalker. 6 more probes go down. 34 probes. The third base for SKillous has been booted up. And more immortals are making their way out. Stalkers are running across the map here. This 1 immortal saves it himself by running back. This War Prism, if it makes its way into the main, warps in a couple of adepts. That is going to be terrible. That immortal gets recalled back home. It survives with 74 health. And ShoWTimE does not advance with the rest of his stalkers. Actually makes his way into the main. Oh my god, all of these adepts shaded into the main. And is he going to save them with the War Prism? Yes, he is. We can drop 1 and then grab it again. Nope. So 4 more probes go down, making sure that ShoWTimE can't attack SKillous right now. And SKillous already up to his 3rd immortal in production. 3rd base slightly behind that of SKillous, so nice for ShoWTimE. He is behind significantly in the probe count right now. And these adepts can just keep trying to harass ShoWTimE, although I think most of the adepts have been cleaned up. Never mind, there's 12 of them on the field, but most of them are in the army. Is there still a War Prism? No, it did die, so nice catch by ShoWTimE. Killing the War Prism, making sure that there's no more pressure on his mineral lines back home. This is 1 adept. And no forge upgrades from either side. So it's just the units. This adept does end up going down. 3 immortals crab walking their way across the map. And another War Prism has been added on. Observers coming out. A couple of these stalkers do catch out this little adept run by. Only 1 adept remaining. Might get a little shade into the natural. And this 3rd base has no probes on it whatsoever. We do have a couple of extra probes on each mineral line for ShoWTimE. And SKillous only 6 probes ahead, but he does have his 3rd base mining. So mining a little bit more efficiently than ShoWTimE. You see the 2 blue arrows up. He's mining a lot more efficiently. SKillous, I think the 2 arrows, like 1 out of 3, or 2 out of 3, pretty much means ShoWTimE needs to do something to correct this. That's so many adepts just shaded on top of your army. Dude, oh, what? This 1 adept does shade in, gets stuck. That's kind of funny. Maybe he deselected it at some point, but shades block each other. So shades can't phase through other shades. So maybe he removed it from his control group to send it into a base, and then it just got stuck. These adepts in the natural trying to get some work done on the probes, whereas the main army is working on the main nexus. These immortals do not flick down the nexus, instead trying to deal damage to these stalkers. And all of these shades do finish up. Instantaneously blinks out there from ShoWTimE. No more juice on the batteries here. Nuclear battery was already committed. And now the Blonk, the aggressive Blonk, takes down the last immortal from SKillous. And all of the adepts get into the main, find their way into the main. And now a big recall from the stalkers. And the adepts actually get to target down 1 of the stalkers. Do kill 1. There's a little bit of juice on the shield battery, but it's hard to be there. As ShoWTimE, a couple adepts here die at the 3rd, and maybe even a couple in the natural. The stalkers do catch a couple of those adepts. These stalkers blink down to catch these adepts in the 3rd base, but These Adepts are actually taking decent trades here. Wow, they were clicked on that Stalker for a little bit. So these Adepts do get taken down. But ShoWTimE, 26 workers. And SKillous is preparing to turtle it up. Wouldn't be surprised to see Blink start up. There we go. An Immortal. Get a shield battery or two. And you could even try to get a couple sentries if you have gas left over. But only 3 gases here. And here come the Stalkers of ShoWTimE. They could try to click down this Immortal, but they just need to get damage done. Nice click on the Immortal. Make sure that the shields are gone. Blinks in. 2 shots the Immortal, but this is a lot of Adepts right now. 27 Adepts dealing with these Stalkers, and some slow Zealots come in. Oh my god, see them evaporate. And a small blink into the main from ShoWTimE. Doesn't quite get all of his Stalkers in there. And he just sees how big the army of SKillous is, tripling the army supply, and SKillous takes game number 3. And it's now on match point. Let's see what happens in game number 4. And for game number 4, we load up into Crimson Court. SKillous is on match point, needs to win 1 of the next 2 games. And he will take this best of 5. So he has 1 map to give, where ShoWTimE can't give any more ground away to his opponent. And I liked the adaptations from SKillous coming out there on Alcyone, going into those Adepts once again, and really went for a 2-base push there, making life difficult on ShoWTimE, showing us a little bit of that weakness from the Twilight-focused, like, Blink first build. Even though ShoWTimE, like, standing in between the army, like, catching the reinforcements of SKillous, I thought he was just going to take that. If you find the Warpism there with your Blink Stalkers, the game probably becomes very, like, not easy, but, like, tenable for you. And you just run into the natural, and then you recall when they walk up, but it just wasn't quite enough. Now, before the game heads off, I want to yap a little bit about just, well, Red Alert, but also just RTS in general. I think Gamescom is now, and they announced, like, another Command & Conquer game, and it's another mobile game. Like, I don't know what the last one was called, just like Tiberium Wars or something? Or like, I don't remember. I played it a little bit. It was like a grid-based mobile game, which, it wasn't great. My phone didn't like it, became very hot, and it was very, like, pay/grind to win. Because you could, like, upgrade your units. So you could have the same units, but yours were more upgraded, like, outside of the game. You just start with better upgraded units. Which was kind of cringe. So I didn't play that too long. I think it was called Tiberium Wars, but I don't know. But now they have Legions, which, like, the trailer was kind of cool. You see, like, the Psychic Dominator from Jury's Revenge. And then at the end of the trailer, you see Jury's face as well. They had Tanya, they had Natasha, like, they had Girovs, but they didn't do the voice line. There was no, like, Girov reporting. Like, that's what you want. You want the Kirov reporting. I don't know. I don't do voice lines, but, like, the goddamn Zeppelin with the nukes, dude. Like, you want to see that. Oh my god, 4 Adepts coming out of ShoWTimE. He's putting on the hurt. The Aggresh. 2 Adepts from SKillous as well. This might just be a good Adept map, although you can't really go around the other one. Oh my god, the 2 Adepts kind of get caught here by the 4 Adepts of ShoWTimE. And, oh, look at that. They're both light units, and ShoWTimE just gets a 2 Adept advantage. And this is going very badly for SKillous early on. He does go for a Stargate, and this Oracle's flying across the map. There's no anti-air here, so ShoWTimE can lose a lot of probies. A pylon does go down, and there is 1 Stalker here. But 4 Adepts can kind of brute force their way through. First Oracle is moving on out. God damn it, I just wanted to talk a little bit about a Red Alert, guys. That game is dope. The Oracle does fly in. There is... Oh, there's a shield battery and double sentry. This Oracle can't do anything. 0 kills. Does get this 1 probe, I guess. I guess it can't kill sentries? Because it does do bonus damage to the light unit, speaking of which. These adepts get into the mineral line and just maul away at these probes. 11 probes got killed in a blink of an eye. 10 probes down for SKillous. His natural is done. He's getting a second oracle, so by the time these make their way across the map, they can start one-shotting probes. If they are, like, synced well enough, the shield battery can't do anything. But is that enough? SKillous also brings Stalkers across the map. He needs to bring the hurt to ShoWTimE. He is up in army supply slightly. Ooh, tries to go to the natural with the oracles, but like goes in between the bases. I guess all of the Stalkers can respond there. And SKillous, can he do anything here? Is he just making sure that ShoWTimE is being honest, making enough army units? There is a shield battery here. Enough juice to keep it alive. And the oracles, they do take down a couple of the probes. This one sentry doesn't quite get taken down, but the oracle sentries are so good right now. It's kind of funny to see the sentries out-tickle the oracle laser beams. Like, sentries used to be like Krillin Kamehameha. It's like, like just small beams, but like when they get angry, which is always versus shielded units, they just like do the full big laser beam cannons, you know, like Gallic gun ×2. Nice little value here from SKillous, but does lose like 25 energy on both oracles just to turn it on, and then a couple more energy to use the beam. Like, that's no stasis ward, basically. That's -1 stasis ward for one probe. And SKillous has caught up in the probe count quite a bit. But there is a third base underway for ShoWTimE here. There's a Robo finishing up as well. And Stalkers plus sentries are moving across the map. But yeah, look at that Command & Conquer Rivals trailer. It's like 2 minutes. It's just fun. You know, you see some initiate units. You see some brutes. You see like an Apocalypse tank. You see the hero units in Tanya, Natasha, Rip Boris from Red Alert 2. Apparently not canon enough to be in the game. Or at least we didn't see him. And then, yeah, I see some generic tanks. I'm not sure which ones they are. Might be some like units from Tip Sun and Firestorm that are translated, but it's a Red Alert universe, so probably not. These adepts from SKillous getting some much needed probe kills to kind of even up the score. The army supply is looking okay, and the adepts even get out. Very nice. But the third base for ShoWTimE is down. It's mining, and SKillous does not have an answer. His economy is still in the dumpster compared to that of ShoWTimE. We don't see it yet in the graph, but it's starting to favor ShoWTimE slowly but surely. And he can Maynard a couple probes over from his main. And somehow, I guess the early probe kills kept SKillous' main intact a little longer. As you can see, 14 out of 14 versus 16 out of 16. It's not a great thing, but at least as SKillous, you're still mining an okay amount. But look at that, the arrows start going up. SKillous does take his extra gases a little early, so he has a higher gas count. Maybe he can go into like some Sentry Immortal. Does take a third behind this. Going up a ramp here is pretty rough. I guess you can go up the left side, but there's a pretty big concave to be had here for Mr. ShoWTimE, and you can't really, like, you can't move here, kill the rocks, go here, kill these rocks, and, like, it just takes too long. Do like the War Prism, so SKillous can get a little bit done. There's no way to get, like, I guess a couple Stalkers with vision, you can kill, like, probes here? Maybe, but ShoWTimE can stop you as well over there. But it could be, like, a nice move to get, like, 3 probes for free. But there is double ShoWTimE vision out here. The War Prism warps into Adepts. We see no Twilight upgrades for SKillous whatsoever. Look at that. Charge and Blink already done for ShoWTimE. And he has 27 Stalkers, 3 more underway. 30 Blink Stalkers versus 3 Immortals and 11 Stalkers. Do have this 1 Oracle, so one of them died at some point, but we have the 2 Stasis Wards. So if ShoWTimE, like, blinks in with its army, a lot of them will be stasis, which is, you know, not great. But if all of them are stasis, it's probably fine again, because then you can't kill anything in stasis as of now. That would be kind of crazy if at some point you could kill units in stasis, kind of like in the co-op. Because that is broken as all hell. Just mass stasis ward and just kill units for free. Look at this War Prism. Just deployed, making sure it can't get F2'd. But another War Prism moving out from ShoWTimE, getting into the main here. 4 charge zealots. There's only 2 Stalkers here from SKillous. I hope for SKillous that he's watching. The Stalkers do see it. They blink. He's watching. He gets a 3rd Stalker, but we just saw some Warpins coming in. So slightly unlucky there for SKillous. Does lose one of his Stalkers to the charge zealots. No shield battery in the main either. So needs to heavily micro these units to keep them alive. Even the Adepts coming off the line, or coming out of the warp gates. He's going for glaives once again, so he really wants to get some damage, and he's going for Disruptor. Double Robo Disruptor. Just making sure that he can survive, and I kind of like it. 5 Disruptors already, dude. I kind of missed that, but... Oh, the Oracle does go down. We have a big revelation. And we saw the blink. Now the Ruptor Balls come out. They catch 1 Stalker. And SKillous stays alive. ShoWTimE, however, already has a 4th base. And SKillous can't really take a 4th base. This area was hard to take. ShoWTimE was chilling over there. And he hasn't mined out either side. Because it's very annoying if there's like a pylon over here or here. And just warping in Zealots and running into your base. Hard to stop that, but SKillous can take this 4th base with the Rich Geyser, and hopefully stabilize. I think you want to go for Stargate if you do that. Just kind of have like Tempest or Carriers over there. Oh, this one spotting Stalker does get taken down, but that does help SKillous get into position a little bit. One Stasis Ward does go down. There's another one here. Another Stalker runs in. He does a little Stasis dance. Whilst SKillous moves on in, throws a couple Disruptors forward, all of these Zealots, making sure there's no extra base being taken. And let's look at the dance. Look at the dance. Little Stalker dance. Now, back to the army so that we don't miss anything. And, oh my god, the Zealots come in from the left, and the Disruptor Balls are not on point. And, oh, we do get a lot of them onto the Zealots right there, but you kind of want them on top of the Stalkers. The Zealots are kind of chaff in this army composition. Now the big blink in on top of all the Disruptors. Noticing that none of them have charges. If they kind of close down themselves, they don't have a charge for sure. And the moment they light up, they have a charge again. The big blink in again from ShoWTimE. So confident. And SKillous calls the G to the G. And ShoWTimE brings us into a game number 5, giving me another opportunity to talk about Command & Conquer. And for game number 5, we return back to the realm of normalcy. We are in Site Delta, and we see low ground walls for game number 5 between ShoWTimE and SKillous. Now, to quickly rectify the information on Command & Conquer mobile games that I spewed out randomly in the last 2 games, they released like a red alert update for Command & Conquer Legions, which is a their newest mobile game, which is absolutely dog water. Like, it's so bad. Don't play it. Just enjoy the trailer, because it's kind of funny to see some, you know, some cinematics for Command & Conquer, which they don't look completely awful, but it's like microtransaction hell. It has nothing to do with an actual RTS. It has nothing to do with having fun. It has everything to do with milking money out of your pockets. So, F Legions, and the other game that they made previously was called Command & Conquer Rivals, which I did play a little bit back in the day, and it was kind of okay. Like, if you enjoyed that game, that is fine. You can enjoy that game. It still has the weird progression that I mentioned, where you can have the same unit as somebody else, but they have more levels in the unit, like more experience on the unit, and so it's better. It just has more health and it does more damage. But that does cap out at some point, so it's basically well, if you just play enough, you'll have the same stuff. It's kind of like, well, League of Legends in a sense, where you don't have all the champs at the start either. which I don't think is a good model, but it exists. And if you have all the champs, it is not a problem anymore. Or kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh, where you don't have all the cards at the start either. So in theory, you know, people with more cards than you could make more decks in theory, but you can choose the cards that you craft. So you can just make the most effective cards and have the good deck. And I think it's the same for Rivals, where if you just have like 1 or 2 comps that you want to play, and you just upgrade those units, then you'll have enough fun with it, and it will be fair-ish at some point, without spending too much cash money in the bank. Stargate going down for ShoWTimE pretty fast. Did it get scouted? It did get scouted. And we see another gateway for SKillous on the other side of the map. He's moving out with a Stalker Zealot into a singular Adept, which does have a shade going across the map. Probably finishes it up. Yep, walks into the natural here. Sees this probe, gives it a little tap on the butt, but doesn't get into the base. And SKillous just aggressively moving across the map here. No tech for SKillous at all. I'm a little surprised by that. And ShoWTimE behind this does have a shield battery. Oh my god, this Oracle actually providing some very important damage. This Zealot clicked on the Stalker, making sure the Stalker can't just stand and shoot. Oh my god, that was a recall, wasn't it? Yes, the recall was used by SKillous. Doesn't save his army at all. All of the units go down, and even this Adept makes his way into the natural for SKillous. 3 kills already. ShoWTimE, no, gets a 4th. Nope, does not get a 4th, but he does get his Adept out. Dude, SKillous is just so behind right now. What is happening here? We do have a Twilight console going down for him, and for ShoWTimE, but you have to deal with these Oracles whilst also being behind. As SKillous, he does have a couple more probes, actually. So ShoWTimE cutting a couple probes to get this super fast Stargate out with the Oracles, while still being able to defend against the units of SKillous. Perhaps that's why SKillous attacked. He's like, well, unless you cut probes, you just don't have the units. The shield battery doesn't get to do anything because of the synced up Oracle beams. Very nicely done here by ShoWTimE. Decent airspace here for those Oracles. And, oh, ShoWTimE has a proxy pile on the map. We're going to see a gateway here, and he probably wants to push out with the Blink Stalkers, with his 4 gates, and his Oracles just forcing a lot of units to stay back here for SKillous. There's no way he takes a 3rd base. We do get a Robo from SKillous, so maybe an Immortal will be out, and with the Blink Stalkers of his own, ShoWTimE can do a lot of shenaniganry. Maybe it's just for like Adept Warpins. That would also be good, but I'd expect it to be over here then, because this is kind of a path that you could be taking as SKillous if you decide to take a 3rd here, which is a little weird because against Oracles, you just want the triangle base, right? Like triangle base gives you less surface area in total, so Oracles can come from less angles. Is why you take a triangle base versus an air threat. You do that versus Mutas. You do that versus Oracles. You do that versus, like, Banshees, whatever. Most of the time. You can break that rule, but it's a good rule of thumb to go for triangle bases. Let's see if SKillous can keep his field center in his control. That ShoWTimE doesn't, like, wiggle his way in there. ShoWTimE is up a little bit in army supplies. 10 army supply more. That is, like, 50% more, but, you know, nominally, it's not that many more army units. And we do see a shield battery at the 3rd, but not in the natural. And SKillous is already being abused for that. This Cybercore is gonna go down. No new one has been produced. No force field thrown down either. And the blink has been revealed by ShoWTimE. And SKillous also has blink, but he just lost his Cybercore. Very painful. Being rebuilt in the main. And look at that. Talking about it, field center is in control for ShoWTimE. No pylon shield battery over here. And so SKillous just can't keep that area. He has a slightly lower army count, so he needs to stay close to a shield battery. And there wasn't one in the wall. Now there is finally an Immortal out for SKillous, and now he feels like he can stand here on the low ground. But this is a lot of Stalker. ShoWTimE once again, kind of outmaneuvering Skillous here, and this is not what you want to see in a game number 5 in a pretty banger series so far. It went back and forth, but if Skillous just kind of dies here, if he just kind of falls over and dies, I would not enjoy that too much. The Oracles, I think, were recalled back, and now they're gonna make their move onto the natural. There is 2 Stalkers here, and oh, nice blink in Skillous, watching that minimap like a hawk, just like you do as the viewer, because, you know, I might miss a couple things. Do see another glaive upgrade for Skillous. Every time he does that, he does win the game, so maybe he can make a couple adepts, go across the map, get into the mineral lines of ShoWTimE and wreak havoc. But for now, 4th base is going down for ShoWTimE, and Skillous just now resaturating his 3rd base, or saturating his 3rd base for the first time. Double immortal for Skillous, though. The army's looking pretty strong. It's looking pretty sexy. And we see charge slot for ShoWTimE with +1. I think immortal and glaive adepts can maybe deal with the charge slot Stalker force, but there's a lot of stasis wards on the map. Oh no, Skillous 6 Stalkers, that's a good amount. Like, he can blink them out right away after the stasis finishes, but this does give ShoWTimE an opportunity to poke around and see if there's a hole, because those 6 Stalkers kind of make this army a lot weaker all of a sudden. For Skillous to warp in more Stalkers, he might want to use that money for a 4th Nexus, for a Forge and a +1 upgrade, for an additional Immortal. But now he's just making more Stalkers, making sure that his army is mobile and fluid enough to keep him alive. He does find the pylon here, so he knows that the... Oh, little Stalker den's going up again. I want to zoom in here. Look at the Stalker going ham. It's kind of funny to me. Little Stalker dens on the stasis wards. This Stalker, does he get saved? Does he get blinked and run away? Nope. Just gets completely destroyed. Didn't get a blink off. Well, he blinked in, and I don't know if the cooldown goes down. If you're stasis, it would make sense that the cooldown is doesn't go down after that. These Oracles get the revelations off onto all of the Stalkers of Skillous. The Zealots run in. The field center has been taken once again by ShoWTimE, but this time around Skillous is on the other ramp, away from a shield battery, and units start running into the 3rd base. We do see the nuclear battery going down, keeping the pylon alive, and Skillous survives to fight another day. Still stuck on 3 bases versus this 4 bath, you know, 4 bathtubs. No, 4 base. Oh my god. Another big stasis hits the army of Skillous, making it pretty hard to move out here. A couple Zealots being warped in. +1 for ShoWTimE as well. ShoWTimE is maxed out as well. Remember, these Stalkers are still not in the fight, and Skillous' War Prism does go down. We have these Immortals in the back, but there has been Immortals added on by ShoWTimE as well. Nice blinking, gets a Stalker for his troubles. Skillous just wants to max out here before he takes a fight. I feel like maybe he can outmaneuver, but he was revelated up a ramp, down a game, baby girl. But he does it anyways. Another revelation on the army. This one Immortal in the front gets targeted down right away. Not a lot of surface area for the Zealots, though, and the Adepts do slowly but surely make their way to the front of the army as these Stalkers blink back. Now, the army of Skillous is being chased by ShoWTimE. One force field keeps these Immortals back. If Skillous moves back a little bit, nope, the force field kind of does nothing. And the army supply, or the total supply of Skillous, is kind of plummeting. 3 Immortals in the army versus 0. It's just Stalkers and +2 for ShoWTimE versus the 3 base Skillous. This is not looking good. Like, you need to get, like, the most godly snipes here on Skillous, and he's gonna try and go for one. Gets the first Immortal, gets the second Immortal, and he needs these types of fights to happen to get back into the game. Use that shield battery as well. An Archon gets targeted down, and that is very good. But on the back of this, the Oracles, the game enders themselves, take 18 probes to the grave. They are the Grim Reaper squad. And now SKillous just 42 workers. GG's out before the final fight can commence. Only 120 supply. Just does not have the economy to stay in this game. Almost +1. ShoWTimE. Die Mauer. In his home country. Takes this best of 5. 3-2. SKillous another round of 8 for him. And ShoWTimE moves on to the round of 4 to face Hero Marine. And that is, of course, a match for the ages. The Germans love both of those players. It's tough on the heart to see that, but you know one of them is going to the goddamn finals, baby. To face off against Gumiho or Clem. We're going to cover these games in the near future. Couldn't do a couple casts for a few days, and these casts, as you can see, are a little long. So, hope to get those out soon. We might do like 1 or 2 more Stormgate videos. The game's not done, but the views are kind of coming in. So we'll see. Might get myself into some Kane's Wrath, maybe? That was looking really fun. Otherwise, we're just going to do more Homestory Cup group stage games. Maybe some games that people sent me on Fiverr. I don't know. I'll just see what is available. Also probably going to do some international games for Dota 2. So lots of video games coming up in the near future. I hope you enjoy my casting. Thank you so much for watching. And after subscribing, liking, whatever, I hope to see you in the next one. Cheers.